One. Is there something wrong with your credentials? I hear this all the time. Is there something wrong with my resume or my experience? Or maybe I needed the right keywords. Look, all that stuff matters and it can help, but it's not just that. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. 50 to 75% of jobs that get filled never even get posted because they get filled through conversations, through relationships, through someone saying like, I know exactly the right person for this. Or, hey, Bob, do you know anybody? And that person could be you, not because you got better at applying, but because you stopped focusing only on applying and you started focusing on connecting. You started reaching out and having real conversations with people. This is how it's always worked. It's the most powerful way to get hired. One. Oh, that's good. Look, I'm talking about this because you're not alone. The first part, you're doing everything right. You know, you're doing the grind, but it's not working. You're waiting and you're wondering, like, is it me? Is there something wrong with me? I mean, I feel like I've done everything right. Is this vibing with you? Sound familiar? I mean, this is what all your friends are doing. Everybody's applying online, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Look for jobs that have been posted. You apply, put yourself into this piece of paper, this resume, put yourself into words on paper, and then you submit it into the portal. Click the easy apply, do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again and again and again. Oh, wait, I should customize my resume for each job application. Yeah. Well, that's going to take more time. Yeah, okay, so I'll do it again, and then I do it again. I should probably check my email to see if anybody replied? Anybody to jobs? Oh, somebody replied. That's a boilerplate rejection. Look, I'm talking about this because you're not alone. The reason I'm doing these theatrics is I want you to know I understand what it's like. And you might be thinking, is there something wrong with you? Is there something wrong with your credentials? I hear this all the time. Is there something wrong with my resume or my experience? Or maybe I needed the right keywords. Look, all that stuff matters and it can help, but it's not just that. You're applying to a total stranger. But there are other people right now that you're seeing. You see it online. You see people every day who are like, hey, I just got the job. You know, they're posting on social media, typing away, sharing their wins. And it sucks. Makes you look at yourself like there's something wrong with you. I want to let you know there isn't necessarily something wrong with you. Like if I asked you now, what was so hard about applying for jobs and not getting the job that you want and being in the struggle? What kept you up at night? What? Has this been keeping you up at night? Like stressing, waiting and waiting, crossing your fingers, like, you know, when you hit that submit again, you do it another 10 times. Look, these jobs that are getting filled, these are jobs, they're hidden because they get filled before they even get posted. And some of the ones that get filled, they still get posted and they still interview them. You might have been on some of those interviews where they already have somebody in mind who came through a friend or a colleague or a referral who's good enough. And that's why the person who gets hired isn't always the person with the most qualifications and the most credentials and who went to the best school or got the best grades or had the best internship. It's the person who's the best fit. And oftentimes that person is the best fit who gets hired doesn't have as many qualifications as you. But what they do have is they have connections. And they met the person. They got to meet them, not in a big job application, high pressure cooker, high stakes moment. They found the third door. They found these hidden doors for how to get access to the people outside of these job postings, outside of this high pressure, high stakes moment where it's kind of like a stock that's been posted and it's really hot and then everybody buys it. What I'm talking about is a stock that nobody knows about and it's taken off or it hasn't even gone public yet and you stumble across it. That's the hidden job market. People finding people through relationships. By the way, I want to say thanks. Thanks for watching the video. And while I'm saying thanks, please give it a thumbs up. One. want you to think about the job you really, really want. Maybe it's the one in front of you. If it is, I want you to think about why you really want it. What is it about this job that you're really excited about? Like, holy cow, this is the one. If I could get this job, well, what is it about it? Think about what is it about the role or the type of work, why it's such a great fit for you. And then I want you to think for those jobs, the ones you really, really want, not the 100 jobs you're settling for, clicking the easy apply online. The ones you really, really want, isn't that worth a different strategy that works better? Isn't that worth taking the time to find your way into that company the proper way, the easier way through relationships and connections? It has been my whole career and all my friends, because we didn't grow up with all this technology, with all the ease of software. We didn't grow up with social media. We didn't grow up with job boards having hundreds of people. I just asked somebody the other day, I turned to her, I said, hey, Laura, when you were applying for jobs, did you ever apply to more than 10 jobs for one job? And she said, no. And there were two other people in the room. I said, how about you? And they're like, no. I said, how about you? And they're like, no. How many jobs did you usually apply for? And they're like, one or two, maybe three. Why? Because the internet wasn't a thing. So as awesome as the internet is, it's also a problem because it's easy for you to apply to a lot of jobs. That means it's easy for a lot of people to apply to a lot of jobs. Hence, that's why they need an ATS. That's why they need a robot to filter all these applications, because so many people are being found because of the internet and technology and AI. Today is Friday. Friday, yeah, not hump day. All right. So now you might be using AI. In fact, I would guess that 95%, 90 plus percent of you guys are using AI. My wife is a college professor. I hear from her all the time. Of course, you guys are using AI. Makes things easier. And there are really clever ways to use AI in a job application. But the tricky part or the slippery slope is using it to rewrite your resume, so and or a cover letter that doesn't actually sound like you. And the trick is you might think, oh, that's really good, but then it doesn't really sound like you. That's not good. Because you're thinking you want it to be impressive, right? Or you want it to look professional or persuasive, but you also want it to sound like you. And there are tools, as you know, that can determine whether something was created with AI. Well, that could be a slap. That could be part of the algorithm in the ATS. So just think about how you're using AI. And the whole point is you're more likely to index for AI when you're applying to 100 jobs or 50 jobs, let alone 300 jobs, because you're trying to scale your time and your impact and your effort. So it tends to index towards scaling and of efficiency, and it takes away from your authenticity and what's actually convincing or persuasive. And you want it to come across as you. The most influential thing is a person who's being themselves and who's passionate about what they're doing. I've hired people many times over the years, and nothing is more compelling or attractive or magnetic than a person who's being themselves and pursuing their passion, letting themselves go after what they really want and showing up as themselves in a job interview. That enthusiasm that's authentic. Now, I know that job interviews can be really challenging because you think they're running the interview. But this is a two-way street. If you can take on the headset that we're two people that are meeting each other, are we a fit? That's a better approach, a better mindset. Now, if you can show up as yourself and get yourself in the right frame of mind. Yeah. All right. I've hired people who were nervous. It's okay to struggle. I want you to hear that. It's okay to struggle. You might be thinking, it's not okay to look nervous. It's not okay to struggle, especially during a job interview or even networking. I disagree. if you are struggling or you're nervous and you're also focused on something you're passionate about, something you really want, well, that's totally forgivable. That works. Everybody can relate to being nervous. Everybody can relate to being anxious. But the ultimate elixir is your desire, your interest, your drive, and letting yourself remember what you love about that. Your enthusiasm for doing this type of work, for wanting to get this type of job. That's what's attractive. And if you can do the research before the interview, like a lot of research, there's a lot more. I train people inside my program how to do this research, and it's always a lot more than they want to do. But if you can let yourself do that, then you can relax when you meet people, whether you're networking or you're at a job fair or you're having conversations through referrals and introductions, or even in a job interview, because you spent so much time researching the company. And that helps you be yourself. And it helps you also show up as someone who knows about the company. You know about their different projects. That's really that's really persuasive, because you demonstrate that you know something about the company, and that's influential. What I don't want for you is, I don't want you to think there's something wrong with you. And that's why I'm making these videos, or that's why in this video I'm talking about all the work you're doing to apply to so many jobs and how it can get in your head. And it's natural to start thinking, oh, there must be something wrong with me because I'm not getting picked. Well, another question to ask is, if I'm applying to so many jobs, why? Why haven't I gotten picked yet? That's because I ain't got no socks on. I ain't got no socks on. By the way, if there's a topic that you'd like me to make a video on, put it in the comments. I was talking to somebody the other day who I was asking some questions. We were doing a coaching call, and that's one way that I start a conversation with somebody, is I show you that I can help you by actually helping you. And we're having a conversation, and he was talking about what he loves, and he was really getting in the zone, getting excited. And that's when he said, "That's my jam. That's my jam." And he actually said it like that, kind of wacky. And now I'm talking to the real person who's really activated and alive with the work. This work, helping you guys, helping young professionals who are starting your career, starting your life, doing it your way now, because you've had all the adults telling you what to do your whole life, and you're ready to take off and do your own thing and start your job, start your career. That's my jam. That's my jam. I love watching you guys take off. That's my jam. There's nothing that floats my boat more than when you break through and you have a moment of confidence. It's incredible. It's beautiful. And I think part of what it's beautiful is because then I get to watch them start making better decisions, being more generous, being a bigger impact in the world. It's just what floats my boat. That's why I want to invite you. If you like what you're hearing and you think maybe it might be worth a free coaching session, and especially if you do want to work with me, if you do want to have a coach who will help you become the person you want to be, and especially to help you get into the career you want to get. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video here. And if you're liking what I'm laying down, if it's vibing with you, I just want to say thanks. And by the way, while I'm giving you a thumbs up, can you give me a thumbs up? Just hit the video. Just give it a quick thumbs up. You know the deal. It helps the algorithm. It helps somebody else like you find the channel. One! When I first started coaching, my wife says, "Oh, you're a life coach." And she's not wrong. I am. I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of young professionals. I've been doing this for years. And what does it mean to land the job that you want? How's that going to change your life? How's it going to impact the rest of your life? Well, you're thrilled to start. They all say, like, "Oh, I want to be able to make enough money." I'm like, "Yeah, and?" "Well, so that I can help my friends." "Yeah, and?" "So that my parents will be proud of me." "Yeah, And so that I can be proud of me. Like, how would you know if you were proud of yourself? And then they start saying things like, well, if I was at a company where I had people that had the right vibe or they really want to pour into me and I could get mentored and learn and grow more, I could do that for other people. Or I could, you want to get married or you want to have your partner. You want to find the right partner. Maybe you want to become a parent and have a child. Maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you want to travel. Whatever the role is and whatever floats your boat and makes you come alive, whatever would make the future you look back and you go, man, I'm really proud of what I've done. I'm really proud of the life I live. I'm really glad I made that decision about that role or that relationship. That's what I want for you. And landing the right kind of job is a great place to start. The life of is way more important than just work. I know you don't want to settle. And when you're applying to 200 jobs, lots of jobs and spam applying online, it's really easy to slip into interviewing for positions that don't really make you feel so great and you're not really interested in. And, well, at least I got a job. At least I can tell my parents I'm making money. At least I can move out of the house. I don't want you going after life with at least. I don't want you settling. And I know you don't want to settle. And the world doesn't need more people who are settling because we all know what that creates. People that settle for a life they don't want, it creates a resentful, grumpy human. And that's not a great way to attract your partner. That's not a great way to become a parent. Be yourself. It's not a great way to live life. My son, I learned this phrase from my son, Nolan. Um, it goes like this: let yourself. Let yourself. It's really hard for humans to let themselves do what they want. We get caught in rumination or self-judgment. Nolan has always been incredible at letting himself create something or dive down the wormhole of something he's really curious or interested about. Let himself, he's a music maker, and he's always loved writing songs, arranging music, performing, doing musical theater, even teaching somebody. I never saw him struggle with letting himself. He would have an idea and he would just go. That's what I want for you. Let yourself pick what you really, really want. Think about it like this. It's way easier to go after something you really, really want if you're focused on a narrower thing that you really, really want. And it's okay to not know what you want. That's very normal. And I help a lot of people figure out what they want. But when you find something that you want, if you let yourself focus on that, not only is it okay to go after what you want, it's way easier to go after what you want. Think about how hard it is to settle for what you don't really want. It's going to take a lot of work and effort, anyways. There are going to be plenty of hard days doing the work you do want at the company you love and it's awesome, and the job you're so pumped that you got. There are going to be plenty of hard days, disappointing moments, failed projects, disappointing teammates, or maybe a boss that woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I've been that guy before, right? There's going to be plenty of hard that's going to come down the road of what you really, really want. So why would you settle for a road of settling for what you don't really want to want? That's going to have plenty of hard in it too. Go after what you want. You're going to spend those calories. You're going to spend those minutes, those hours, those days, those years anyway. May as well do what you really want to be doing. All right. Hey, if you have a question, do you have a question? Is there a question you want answered? Maybe you're stuck on something with your job search or you're applying to jobs not going so well, or I don't know what it is. But if you have a question, put it in the comments and we'll respond. All right, so now your job is to go watch this video here.